Hi, my name is John. I'm the president and founder of HighZer Electronics. We primarily focus on wireless components for retail across various e-commerce platforms, Amazon, Newegg, Walmart, our own website. We recently launched in Europe, which was great. I wouldn't really be able to do that without Cahoot and their ability to fulfill international orders. So that's very helpful. So I started looking for a 3PL late summer to do a couple different things. Reduce the number of handling days, which would ultimately speed up delivery. That's what buyers are looking for. They want their item, they want it now. And then, of course, distributed fulfillment to reduce transit times as well. So overall, looking to cut out a day or two at least from my total transit times to entice additional buyers. So I landed on ShipBob initially, getting on board with them. Between myself and our COO, it immediately started going downhill when we were onboarding with ShipBob. But we went to them for those reasons. We wanted to reduce transit time and handling time. So I did not. The onboarding was not clear for me. We got set up. I had to set most of it up myself. No one was really assisting me, which was very obnoxious. And then, of course, I rely on Zentel as my inventory management platform, which that integration did not work at all, even though that's what was advertised when I was coming on board. So it was very difficult to get on board. But nonetheless, I continued. I wanted to try it out, give them a fair shot. Maybe there was something that I needed to work through before it got up and running. I sent them my initial inventory, maybe 1,000 units or so, just to see how it would work out. I was very disappointed off the bat with that as well. I think it took 8 business days just to receive the items, which it's a very long time. When I usually turn over my inventory every 6 to 8 weeks. So that was a whole business cycle, almost a whole cycle that I lost. I also need some various prep services. That's a big part of my business as well. Taking things from a master pack or bulk pack, and then private labeling the item or individually packaging it. And even after the 8 business days or so to receive my items, it then took them another 10 business days to perform the prep that I needed for those items. So start to finish, where I was looking at almost a month between when I sent off my initial inventory and when it was available for consumers to purchase. And like I said, that's almost a whole cycle, a turn for my company. So about 3 weeks in after I shipped the inventory is when I kind of mentally started looking around for a different 3PL. I could already tell it wasn't going to work out for me. So between myself and my COO, we sent probably half a dozen requests in. It is fairly easy to submit them through their online portal, similar to Cahoot. But they were fairly quick to get back, usually within a day. So that part was fine. But every time I asked or inquired, why is my inventory still waiting to be checked, to be checked in, or why is this prep service 5 days over the SLA you promised me? And I didn't get really much in return, an explanation, or even, hey, we can, here's a comp that we did for this, or anything like that. It just said, sorry, we were over on our SLA, tough luck. So I didn't really care for that. There didn't seem like there was any attention given to the fact that, I sent stuff out a month earlier and it still wasn't available for sale. So I think that that transpired early fall, and by the time I hadn't even have ShipUp hadn't even completed all of their inventory prep services that I required before I had already started working with you in Cahoot. That they were taking that long. So I don't have anything negative to say. And even technology, even when issues occur, I very prompt responses, which is all I can really ask for. I sell electronics, and I do customer service with electronics and computers and IT. So I get it. IT is IT. But I'll start with the onboarding process for Cahoot in particular. That it went very well. It was much smoother than the ShipUp onboarding for sure. We had our first engagement, our first meeting where we discussed what our requirements were. You talked through and upfront said, this might not, more or less, it might not be a good fit if we're not able to solve your problem. We might want to look elsewhere, and that was very helpful to say, here's what we can do. Here's how I can tailor our services to meet your individual business need, and that was very important, in particular with the prep services that I require. And right up front, you wanted to see that up front to make sure that you could meet the need. So you asked for, what are your step-by-step instructions? Do you have any videos? Walk me through and show me how you do the work, so Cahoot can be sure to do the work correctly, or we can even be sure that we do this work. So that was very helpful. So before even signing on with Cahoot, I knew that you were going to be able to meet my individual business needs because you'd already walked through and checked and validated that you would be able to perform all those services. That was very important for me. And that just gets us up to when I signed on with Cahoot, pricing SLAs were very clear up front. I still have the document, so I can always check if I want to, or anything like that. So very smooth onboarding. Once I signed, I know you handed me over to the account team. I work a lot with Jeremy. He's very responsive, and right off the bat, he's started digging into how should we get your inventory moved here, from both my own warehouse and ShipUp's warehouse. How do we want to stagger that to make sure that you don't you're still able to make sales during this transition period? So that was all very helpful. The online web-based is very intuitive. I put in all my various SKUs, updated its information, in requests to have the inbound sent in. So that was all very smooth, very easy to work through. I think it took a little closer to 72 hours to receive the inventory. But even so, 72 hours was mentally what I was prepared for. Going over that if needed based off of holiday demand, I would expect it to be a little higher. But as soon as I got my first, the inbound was received, I received a message that it was available, and that in itself was new. So I knew when it was available, and the interface with Zentel went through right away without any issues, which was amazing. So I just monitor it now. It doesn't really take much input from me. There's a few by exception orders, primarily based off the shipping destination that I just need to verify. But I really enjoy and like the interface. The orders route automatically to Cahoot, which is amazing. That's exactly what I needed. Cahoot, I did some price analysis, and because I did get around 50 orders or so sent out of ShipBob, and I think I'm getting kind of close to that on Cahoot in a third of the time, so that's very good. But the fulfillment costs, I'll say the total cost, which includes the packaging, anticipated shipping or freight, and then of course the fulfillment fee that goes into that is still lower on Cahoot than ShipBob. It's not a half the cost type deal, but it's definitely more reasonable when I look at the cost or my invoices and whatnot. it's very clear where the money is going, which is a dramatic change from ShipBob, where you just say, well, the fulfillment cost of this was $720, and you don't know what was packaging or shipping or other items. So it just makes me feel like I know exactly where my money is being spent, which is far more preferable, of course. With respect to ShipBob, I didn't even get to that stage. I sent to one of their warehouses, more so on the East Coast, and I never even made it to trying to get distributed inventory on both coasts of the states. I pulled the plug on them before I ever got to that. But Cahoot, right off the bat, I was sent to a warehouse centrally located geographically in the United States, which has been very beneficial. I'm pretty sure I get 2-day coverage, even with most ground service is still a good chunk of the country is 2-day service, which was reducing my shipping costs. And then for things that I need to do, overnight, it's just the geographical location is much better. Being able to send it to the middle of the states. And the expandability, when it comes to scalability, that is very important, since I'm scaling up relatively quickly, bringing in new product lines and new needs and whatnot. So that's really great. I've being able to send in however much inventory I need, so I can get my own company out of the business of having my own warehouse, which has been really good. I think I probably looked for at least 4 to 6 weeks before even engaging ShipBob, trying to find every 3PL that would service the United States and whether or not they can meet the Amazon prep service needs or FBA forwarding, since some firms don't do that. Some of them are just warehousing companies, or some of them are just freight forwarders. It was very difficult to try to find somebody who could do all of the services I needed without bringing in another company. So I didn't want 2 3PLs. That defeats the purpose, right? So I went with ShipBob initially because it was a little bit a bigger name on when I did my searching, and the sales team, or the pre-sales team, whatever you may call it, they did seem to indicate that they would be able to meet all the needs that I had, primarily the order fulfillment piece, and then FBA prep and FBA forwarding. So I did initially go with them. The costs were reasonable. They were still a little higher than I wanted, or I budgeted. But being a larger company, I'd say the biggest difference, and what is the most important when it comes to sellers, is the customer service piece. Because my own customers are expecting immediate service, and I can't meet that demand and that need if my own 3PL can't provide customer service when I need it. So that is by far a very, very big distinguishing factor. It took too long to work through ShipBob and get my issues resolved, to get attention that I needed. Whereas at Cahoot, there were some days, especially during the first week or two, I probably had 3 or 4 emails going back and forth with just my account rep alone. Answering my questions, making sure my integrations were going to work, all that kind of stuff. So that way, when inventory was available, I knew it was going to work. And I definitely did not have that with ShipBob. So Cahoot definitely was a significant value add for my firm. And I wish I would have known or been able to start with Cahoot off the bat. I probably wouldn't have lost so much in sales. But here we are now. Things are running very smooth. Everything is essentially automated. Orders can come in from any of my platforms and automatically route through to Cahoot, which is just fantastic. And the last note I'll add on this particular thing, the customer service, like I said, was big, but also the delivery SLAs. So Cahoot has actually enabled me to adjust my sales channels to have same day handling. With a versus ship off, they did not do that. Their cutoff was, I believe, early in the morning, so I couldn't promise same day handling. So that's another day I knocked off my fulfillment time. So from start to finish with Cahoot, I went from an average of 2 days for handling time. I'm down to same day handling now, and Cahoot meets that consistently with the SLAs that they have, which has been really great. So customers notice too.